Introducing our new straw foams. So this is what we'll look at on the call today. I've updated our digital toolkit somewhat, and so we'll look at some of that. And then I've got some additional kind of training curriculum that we'll look at, and then we'll look at the straw foams. I've updated our display programs to include the straw foams. And then we'll look at the price list as well. And so I'll get all this information out to you after our call today, but I wanted to give you a chance to ask any questions. So like I mentioned, I'm publishing a new version of our digital toolkit. Here is what our line looks like now with our straw foams. Again, we're a single source manufacturer of sealants and adhesives. So I've added in our straw foam products. So we've got 3 Fireblock products now: Fireblock 113, Fireblock Extreme, and then our straw version we're also calling Fireblock Extreme, just with the straw applicator. Same with window and door. We've got window and door Extreme, and then the window and door Extreme straw. And then remember, our other straw foam is our Fill All, which is our multi-purpose foam sealant. And then the other straw product that we actually have a straw version of our subfloor adhesive. So this is a slide that I made for our call today, and then for our digital toolkit as well, for y'all's edification and training. We get one question a lot. So who decides what foam or adhesive they use? So whenever they're doing this residential construction, who decides what products they use? So the vast majority of the time, I would say 90+% of the time, it's the contractor that decides what product they use. So this is the actual end user, the one that's applying the product, the one that's pulling the trigger or using the straw foam. So this could be the insulation company, the framer, the drywaller, with the straw products. We even get into working with plumbers or electricians that maybe have a handful of these straw foams on their truck. So the majority of the time they get to pick the accessory materials that they use. Maybe the builder or somebody tells them, hey, be sure to use a foam sealant to fill up the penetrations or something. They get to pick which one they use. So sometimes, and again, this is seldomly, the builder will tell them which product to use. So sometimes we get this with products like gasket foam. Sometimes they'll specify like, hey, we need a product that will help with the air exchanges for the house or something. So the builder periodically will say this. I would say it's some 15% of the time. And then the least common is for the architect to actually say on the blueprints which accessory materials to use. Typically, they just will say they need to use some sort of sealant or adhesive, but they won't say which one. Okay, so getting into the Fireblock foams. So again, we have our Fireblock Extreme and Fireblock 113. So just as a refresher, this is a draft stopping foam sealant that is required in residential construction. It just stops the draft air from fueling the fire. So we're introducing this straw version, which we'll look at. I'll blow it up a little bit here in a second. But there's again, we have the Fireblock 113, which is used in summer months, high application temperature up to 113 degrees. And then our Fireblock Extreme, which has a much wider temperature range, and then a straw version of Fireblock Extreme that does not require a gun. So a quick comparison on the two products. So we have the gun grade Fireblock Extreme, which you're all familiar with. This is our newer foam label, which we're launching this summer. And then you can see the 12-ounce straw version. So I've got arrows pointing to a couple of things I wanted to draw your attention to. So the gun grade Fireblock Extreme can go from -4 to 100 degrees, and that's the application temperature. So it can, once it's cured, or after you apply it, it can be outside of that temperature range, let's say. But the Fireblock Extreme straw only goes down to 23 degrees. So this one goes from 23 to 100 degrees application temperature range. And part of the reasoning there is just price competitiveness. The more extreme the temperature range, the more expensive the formula. And then the size of the can, the Fireblock Extreme gun grade is 24 ounces, and the straw grade is 12 ounces. So I wanted to draw your attention to a couple other items of note. The yield that you get out of the straw foam can is typically about 30% of the gun yield. So you might think, 24 ounces to 12 ounces, it would be a 50%. It's actually closer to 30% of the yield of the gun version, because to get the foam out of the straw applicator actually requires a little bit more propellant. And so you have to take a little bit of foam out to add in more of the propellant, if that makes sense. And then also the item is packaged a little bit differently. The straw cans are obviously smaller and lighter. So it still comes in 12 in a case, but you can get more cases on a straw pallet. So the gun version is 12 per case and then 720 cans per pallet. The straw version, that's the gun version. And then the straw version is 12 per case, 2160 per pallet. So the gun version is 60 cases on a pallet. The straw version is 180. So and this same thing applies to the window and door, but we'll look at that in a second. So any questions so far? No questions. All right. So here's some competitors that you'll see in the marketplace. The Great Stuff Fireblock is pretty common. Loctite has a Fireblock straw. DAP has a Fireblock straw. And you'll even run into Type Bonds, Fireblock straw, and then Boss and Handy Foam both have straw versions as well. And there's others in the market as well in different regions, but these are some of the most common that you'll run into especially like in your STAFTA type distributors. And maybe they just carry one of these lines, maybe they carry multiple. But when it comes to the selling points of our product versus theirs, and you would need to compare the technical documents, of course, but ours typically has a bigger gap filling capability. So again, you can even see the Loctite Fireblock foam. If you can see this, it says it fills gaps up to 1 inch. Ours goes up to 3 inches. And this is especially important with Fireblock, where the point is to fill the gaps to stop the draft air. Basically, what happens if you work with these foams more, you'll get to know that when it talks about filling gaps up to 1 inch, when you're filling a gap, essentially you're sort of layering the foam on top of itself. And with these limited formulas, like Loctite's formula right here, once you get over 1 inch of stacking, it starts to collapse down on itself and it won't cure properly. It won't actually fill the gap. It might look like it when you apply it, but if you come back after a few minutes, you'll see it just collapse down into this little mess. Whereas ours, you can actually fill the gap up to 3 inches and it'll cure that way. So it's pretty neat. And then, of course, the temperature range, a lot of these, and it's not the same for all of them, but some of them, the temperature range is very limited, like 41 to 86, very, very limited temperature range. So typically the selling point's going to be there with one of those. But again, you'll need to kind of compare exactly what's on the shelf. But these are some of the most common competitors that I see out in the marketplace. But this Fireblock straw is a pretty common product. And then the next one is our window and door extreme. We're similar in concept. We're introducing a straw version of the extreme grade. So again, this is our window and door foam for sealing around the windows and doors. It's AAMA verified. That's a Windows manufacturer organization that verifies that our product won't bow the windows and doors. So this is the same information that was on the other slide. The temperature range is a little bit more limited. You'll see 23 to 100 degrees, the exact same. and then it's 12 ounces versus 24 ounces. The product ships the same as the Fireblock Extreme straw version. And again, I made this same note just to kind of manage expectations in regards to gun versus straw. And for the vast majority of the straw users, they're really not going to care per se, because imagine you're an electrician that needs to fire block around like 3 outlets. Well, you'll just take out 1 can of our Fireblock Extreme, fill those 3 outlets, and then just throw it away. Like if it's not, you don't need 1,000 feet of yield per se, because of some big job. If you're spraying a significant amount of foam, you're just better off using the gun grade. If you're a professional installation company, you're way better off using the gun grade. It'd just be much more efficient. You're saving money per ounce, let's say, and time, of course. But the straw version really is a convenience for people. So same with the window and door, 30% yield compared to the gun version. And then some of the same competitors, Loctite has a window and door foam. I see this product in almost every Ace Hardware, for example. Great Stuff has a window and door foam. DAP, of course, and then Handy Foam, Boss, and you'll even see Titebond. I see this Titebond foam in a lot of like Do It Best type hardware stores. But it'll be some of the same selling points. Like with our window and door extreme, you're going to have a more extreme temperature range in many cases. And then just as a reminder, we do have another straw foam, our Fill All, which is a multi-purpose foam. You can kind of think of it as a 2-in-1 formula, whereas other manufacturers have two versions of this product. We have made it into one, just in one simple formula that fills gaps from 1/4 inch to 3 inches. And it's really just to fill any kind of gaps and cracks and other openings. But yeah, this is our other straw foam. And then I've updated our display programs. So I'm not sure if you've all seen these, but I try to send them out. I'll send these out after our call, of course. But something to keep in mind. I'll zoom in here. So we have. I'll be sending you two versions of these displays. One only has our straw foams on it, and you can see a planogram here of what it would look like on a shelf. This is a 2-foot display to get some shelf space with any of your retail customers. And you can see it contains 7 cases of the 3 main foams, straw foams. And then I included a couple cases of cleaner on here as well, which I do recommend to people, even if they are using the straw version. And I put this on the straw label, when it talks about the label that nobody reads about all the instructions on how to use it. But it does, I do mention, like, if you need to clean up the product, use our cleaner. I recommend that to anybody using our foams. Always have a can of our cleaner around, because you never know what you're going to get the foam on. Things happen, especially with the straw version. You don't have as much sort of control that you do with the gun grade. Like the gun grade, you can really dial in. Whereas with the straw, it's kind of on and off, let's say. So you may need to clean some of it up, in which case I would recommend having our cleaner still. But you can see, like I said, it's got quite a bit of product on there, and they buy in at $2,000. We drop ship it to them with shipping. Shipping is included. I include literature and then a header sign at the top for their retail setting. But yeah, they make an easy kind of 35 or so points off of that opening order. And then also one I made for hardware stores. This is kind of your typical hardware store, where you might have people of different sort of contractors coming in. Perhaps some framers maybe that need some subfloor glue. Then our different types of window and door, different types of fire block, and fill all, and then some guns. But they make about 40 points off that opening order. But you can see I list everything that's included in the package. And then regarding our price list, so this is what our price list looks like if you've reviewed any of our price lists so far. And then I'll zoom in on it. So this is our class 1 list to give you some perspective. Remember, we've got the class 1 list that's intended for more retail customers, and then our class 2 list for um, bigger distributors that might bring in, a full pallet of one item, let's say. So I've included our Fireblock Extreme and Window Door Extreme 12-ounce versions on this price list. And you can see we're retailing the Fireblock Extreme at $12 a can and the Window and Door Extreme at $10 a can. And so you can kind of compare. Our fill-all is also $10 a can. I included that on here. But I have a section on there for a straw version of foam sealants. And then our sample, I will be sending out samples to you folks, but our sample/stock arrive in late August. So probably about a month from now, that stuff will be landing and actually available in our warehouse, just to give you some timing as well. But otherwise, that's all I had. Were there any other questions or comments?
Samuel, this is Herman from Oldfield Sales. Will acetone work for cleaner if you don't have any of the cans of your product on hand?
Sort of. If you have like regular acetone, yes. Like I've gotten some of our I use fill all at my house periodically for different projects, and I've gotten some on me, and I didn't have cleaner around. And so I'm kind of rummaging around, and I asked my wife, like, hey, do you have any like nail polish remover? And so I got some of that, which has acetone in it. It's just very diluted. And I used it and it worked okay, but our acetone that's in our cleaner is much more potent. So depending on the potency of the acetone, yes, it'll work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Samuel, this is Emmett.
Hello.
Hey, on the window and door, if you're going to send out any of that information, could you notate which one of those are competitors or AAMA verified, just so we've got that knowledge going into it?
I can.
Okay.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
Well, this is Mike from CAM. Going back to the one screen where you had the fill all, and you mentioned that it was a 2-for-1. Then what is that compared to on the competitor side? Are they like up to 1-inch fill and then up to a 3-inch, or is it by the application, the focus of the application, like windows and doors or Fireblock, or just a general fill all?
Yeah, so our fill all product is just a general purpose kind of a multi-purpose type foam. It's not verified for windows and doors or Fireblock. It's really just a general use gap filling foam, where that sort of certification isn't really necessary. But when I say it's a 2-in-1 formula, so a lot of our competitors have a small gaps and cracks foam and a large gaps and cracks foam. So the first one will fill gaps from 1/4 inch to 1 inch. The next one fills gaps from 1 inch to 3 inches. Ours will do both. So when I say it's 2-in-1, I mean it'll do both of those with one formula.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Samuel, Matt O'Grady from CAM.
Hey.
On the Fireblock straw formula, the main differentiator between us and our competition then is the fact that we go down to -20, or not negative, but to 23 degrees for possible application. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, especially in your in your neck of the woods.
Right.
Yeah, it'll go down to 23 degrees. A lot of our competitors will only go down to 41 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big selling point. And then
Yeah.
of course the gap filling capability going all the way up from a 1/4 inch to 3 inches as well with our fire block. That's a big one.
Okay.
Samuel, since we're talking temperature, what's the temperature on the regular fill-all product?
The regular fill-all is the regular gun fill-all is 41 to 86.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's kind of that more limited temperature range, but yeah, that one's 41 to 86 for the gun grade fill-all. But it does fill bigger gaps than most other foams on the market though, so.
I apologize if you said this, but when is the cell stock landing? When can, are you guys taking pre-orders? What do you?
Yeah, so it's we will accept pre-orders at this point. Like the products are set up in our system, and I'm about to send you the price list after this call, so that you'll have those. So we will accept pre-orders now because the product has been shipped and it's on the way here. Again, our products are made in Poland, and so it's on a boat coming here, and it lands in mid-August, and then about a month from right now is when it would actually be available, and or when would actually be in stock. Let's say, like, because it's got to come to the port, and then it goes from the port to our warehouse, which our warehouse or both of our warehouses are right next to the port, really. So that usually just takes a couple of days, but about a month from today, it'll be available, and I'll process some samples for y'all's teams as well at that time.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody that was able to join today. I appreciate y'all's time, and yeah, I don't. Kevin, did you have anything you wanted to say as well?
No, I mean, we're excited about launching these new straw foams. It's, we all think that there's plenty of potential and upside with these products. So we're excited to see them get into these new stores, and in combination with our point of purchase displays and stuff that Samuel was showing earlier, there's no reason we can't participate in most any location where you guys are seeing these products. So we're very, very excited to put, more into your arsenal for your selling into the market. So we're real excited. If you guys see or need anything, let us know, please. We're excited to see you start moving the products. So that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Y'all have our full support, and I'll be sending out all this information I gave you today after the call.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a
Thanks a lot.
good day.
All right.